I was talking to Carnival Australia just before the news. Their ship came in yesterday. People got off. It was very hot to come into town. No cabs. 5 people collapsed. 4 taken to hospital. They're all okay, I think. But they're elderly people. Hot weather, collapsed. We still have this problem with any cabs getting down there to pick people up. And Carnival's making the point. It's an embarrassment to Melbourne.
It is. And we went through this, you recall, also during the Melbourne Cup Carnival last year when we had, I think, 4 ships arrive and we simply couldn't cope with the demand down there. I looked at it at the time and they assured me, look, what we're going to do now is process public transport tickets on board so that people can jump on trams. We'll organise buses because it's 2,000 and 3,000 people who get off at a time. So taxis are not going to be the answer. You're not going to get 2,000 taxis down there to take people here, there, and everywhere. So we're going to have to work out how we move people, particularly into the city, because from the city you can get almost everywhere. Sad to say, some of these cruise companies in the past have not been that interested in getting people into the city. They'd rather sell them tickets on board to go down to see the Penguins or the Great Ocean Road and move people that way. The other part is that if we are serious about the cruise ship industry, then we have got to get that first experience right. I mean, obviously the Station Pier area was never built for sort of luxury cruise ships, but now they are such an important part of our tourism business. We've got to think about how do we fix, and even things like there's a different experience if Melbourne is your end of journey than if you're simply breaking your journey. So, yeah, you're right.
So what do we do? We've got to fix Station Pier as well.
Well, I think we've got to fix the transport from Station Pier. I mean, the processing, it can be taken over by customs and it can become, an entry point to Australia quite easily. That part we're used to, although the infrastructure is pretty old and ratty. And when you see all the suitcases lined up on the pier there, it's not a particularly good look. But to me, it's about moving people. And the sensible thing to do is to seamlessly and quickly move them from the cruise ship to the centre of the city and then allow them to disperse to wherever they want to go. And that, to me, is going to be partly trams, and they may be dedicated. I think it's the 109 that goes down there. So it's partly trams, which wouldn't be a bad way to enter the city in the first place. But that means, we've got to work with Yarra Trams to say, well, if we've got a cruise ship coming in, what are you going to do about almost a shuttle service that keeps the 109 moving? And we're going to have to use buses to move people.
So whose responsibility is it? Who's got to fix it? Is it you? Is it the Port of Melbourne Authority? Is it the shipping line? Is it the state government? Who's going to fix it? Because it's been going on too long.
It has. It's not our city. It's the city of Port Phillip. But nevertheless, we'd be happy to be at the table to help coordinate that because it's about the reputation of the city and we want them to come into the city. These are people who are relatively short stay but very high spending tourists. So we want them to have a great first experience when they arrive here. And you're quite right. At the moment, it is simply not working. I'm happy to talk to, for instance, our tourism minister and see if we can get together all the relevant parties to say, okay, how are we going to deal with, not just one cruise ship, but if we have 2 or 3 at the one time, how do we ensure that their first experience of Melbourne is a very efficient and a very pleasant one?